Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Way back in the day, in the 80s, if you can believe that, I'm at a gig and one of my guitar players, this guy Todd, comes to all of us and asks us this question you've probably heard. Anybody have an extra guitar cable? Well, nobody did. Todd had one with him. Only problem, it was like 2 or 3 feet long. So for the entire gig, he kind of sat on his amp. And that was pretty funny. But it taught us all a valuable lesson. Bring some extra stuff. Since then, over the past 4 decades, I've experienced a whole bunch of other things or misfortunes, which, have led to me bringing a bunch of stuff to the gig that's extra. And this does not include the stuff that I normally bring to a gig. A lot of these are backups for normal items, and some of these are some things that you might not think about. So this is all hard-won experience I want to share with you. So, obvious, there's the obvious stuff, like strings. Bring some extra strings. I've never broken a bass string, but I've seen a lot of guitar players break strings, and if you can bring more than one instrument, that's great. Sometimes it's not practical, but I've played at a lot of gigs where, even this last year, where the guy has switched a guitar in the middle of a song because he broke a string. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Obviously, chords. So bring some extra chords. And honestly, in my experience, and Todd's not the only one. It was just like last week, somebody had to borrow a chord because one of theirs died. Also, patch chords. Bring some extra patch chords or small chords. And sometimes you might need to use these for really weird reasons, like I'm playing in a place where all of a sudden the stage is incredibly small. I'm not going to have room for the very small board I bring. So instead, I yank the tuner off of it. I use a very small patch cord. And now I have the tuner on top of my amp, and I don't have to worry about stuff. Straps. Bring an extra strap, because somebody might not bring one, or there's my break. This one has a bunch of skulls on it. I used this actually for many years because I found it in a basement in an apartment I was renting. Also, microphones. Maybe bring an extra microphone. I love these SC microphones. I should talk about them sometime. Bring an extra microphone because you never know if somebody might need one of those. Let's see what else. Sometimes I bring extra pop filters for mics in case somebody needs a pop filter. How about batteries? Bring some batteries for your stuff. This should go without saying if you have an active instrument. You might want to bring in a 9-volt battery, which I cannot find here on my table full of crap. Oh, here it is. But also, bring some other kinds of batteries. I had these AA batteries. I was at a gig, I'm doing sound, and this guy has his mic, and it's a special wireless mic that he likes to use, and it's not working. And we asked him, did you change the batteries? No, the batteries are fine, I said, fine, why don't you let me see that, and I'll put some of these extra batteries I have in it. It was the batteries, by the way. And also, played another gig really recently, and a guy's power cord for his effects went out. So I happened to have an extra power cord and was able to power up his effects. I think I might have actually used this for my tuner and let him use my Ciox, or Chox, whatever you call it, because it's a multi-power thing. Not just effects, though. How about one of these? An IEC power cord. Just about everything is powered by these now. Like amplifiers usually have one that's removable, and a lot of the the powered mains and speakers and all that kind of stuff. And I'll never forget another gig I was at probably 20 years ago where this guy Flash, we're all set, and he's like, "Does anybody have a power cord? I didn't bring." And we were even asking the place, "Do you have a cord from an old computer, an old computer monitor, or something like that?" So since then, I brought a bunch of these with me. I usually have one with me when I'm playing as a gig as a bass player, and if I do sound, I usually have a few, and I've had people run to this all the time where they need an IEC power cord, so that's a really cool thing to bring along as an extra. Also, extra tuners in case yours dies. I don't really like these that much, but they are very useful, and, half the time I'm giving it to somebody else because they don't have a tuner. Some kind of tools. You don't need to bring this string winder. My girlfriend just got me that attachment for my drill because I was not aware they existed, and you can change bass strings really fast with that. But the basic tools you need to, say, adjust your guitar. I bring an Allen wrench and some things if I need to adjust the relief, or if I need to raise the action or lower the action, or get into the battery compartment, all that kind of stuff. All right, if you're a guitar player, here's something you might not think about. What about a drum key? Really important thing to bring along. I've had one of these a couple times when the drummer needed one, and came in very, very handy. Bungee cord. Bungee cord? Yeah. I usually have a bungee cord with me, and it was last year a drummer forgot to bring his snare stand, and I think we used this to attach it to a chair or something like that. Really important. Extra guitar stands, always very, very useful. Sometimes I just don't, have one, or, mine broke or something like that. Mine's never actually broken, but I've seen other people bring really crappy ones where I'm getting chest pains watching them put their expensive $2,000 guitar on something. It's like, listen, for my sanity, can you please put your guitar on this? So I brought that. And also when it comes to power, you never know. Like, you might need a super long power cord to get some to the actual juice, because they'll say, oh yeah, the power's right there. It might not be. And some extra stuff like this, extra, what do you call it? This is quad box or some kind of power strip, because you might find out that all of a sudden one of your bandmates kind of neglected to mention that they brought this thing that they need a whole bunch of power for, and I don't have it with me. I thought I put it on the table, but mic clips. You never know when a mic clip might break. And another thing that I thought I put on the table, apparently I haven't in preparation for this. Here's the mic clip. Here's the mic clip. Is some gaff tape. I don't know where I put that. Gaff tape, really important. Great stuff to, don't worry about that. Great stuff to tape stuff down, to fix things in a hurry. It doesn't leave the kind of residue that duct tape might leave, and just as strong. And it's, we tape down cords with it all the time, but it's also really cool to kind of jury rig some stuff. Let's see what else. Maybe an extra DI box. Because all of a sudden somebody has something. Somebody brought an acoustic guitar. Nobody said anything about that, and all of a sudden you need. Okay, fine. I've actually had people plug their acoustic guitar and even like a keyboard into my Sans amp, which is for a bass, but just left all the circuitry off. And okay, great. It's an active DI box, and that kind of saved the day. And let's see. Am I missing anything else in here in this list of things that I put down here? I don't think so. A bunch of. Oh, yes, I am. A cord for the iPad. A really long one, a charger, because sometimes somebody's using an iPad, maybe I'm using an iPad on the gig, and it runs out of power. And that can suck. And maybe if you've got an extra iPad, clip. I've actually brought this to a gig as a sub player where I had some notes on my iPad for a couple of songs where I was a little weak on the bridge. I had to learn a bunch of songs for the gigs. And the singer wanted to use her iPad to film and stream the event to her family and God knows where. And I was like, okay, use mine. And I just put this, my iPad on top of the amp, So that time I wish I had an extra one. Now, you don't actually have to bring all this stuff into the gig. But I usually have a bag of stuff in my car, little extra things. Or some of these things I've just got extra. I throw them in my guitar case, so they're kind of always in there. And, but having them available, because, I've played a lot of gigs, and you don't need them all the time, but there's that time when you really need it. And, well, nobody's got one anywhere near you in like 40 miles. And you don't want to be running around asking somebody, do they have an IAC power cord or batteries or something? So that's been my hard-won experience. And the extra stuff you should probably bring to a gig.